Good morning. This is video number 4 of Pseudotumor Cerebri, and we left it off at my visit at Columbia Presbyterian's New York ophthalmologist, where he told me that I would probably have either a brain tumor or something called Pseudotumor Cerebri, which was the first time I had heard the name. So he told me to go ahead and do an MRI, the brain MRI, which came out basically, let's call it basically clean. In other words, meaning I don't have a brain tumor. They did tell me that I had a, shall we call it a small right ventricle. In other words, they believed that the excess fluid was actually compressing my right ventricle. And there was basically no other findings that I can recall at this time. The big appointment was the next day when I went to see a neurologist, and he did a lumbar puncture. It was probably to this day the worst lumbar puncture I have ever had, I have to tell you. At that time, I weighed close to 250 pounds. So, over, and this, we'll talk about this some other time, but that's over double the weight of what I weigh now. And he had a very difficult time threading the needle. He did do it in the right position to do a lumbar puncture. He was very good at that, and he did specialize in pseudotumor. Was also at Columbia Presbyterian. So it took him like 3 or 4 times. So first of all, it was the anxiety of not knowing what it is that he was doing. Second, he didn't really explain it very well. I mean, he explained it, but in a very doctor-like way. And he said he would be uncomfortable. Well, lumbar punctures aren't uncomfortable. And I've learned whenever a doctor says, this is not going to hurt much, it's just uncomfortable, just bring that up a notch, because it means it's going to hurt. And then it was the fact that he couldn't actually thread the needle to the lumbar sac. He did touch a nerve, so I all of a sudden yelped, not knowing how to react and not knowing that this could even happen. So all of a sudden I feel this cold, humongous sharp pain down my leg, my right leg. And it was obviously he had touched a nerve. And then he starts moving the needle and asking me, does it hurt less? Does it hurt less now? And it was like, what? In any case, when he did finally thread the needle, I heard him say, hold on 1 second, because I need to get another measuring tube. My pressure was so high, he needed extra tubing. I believe I have to look at my records, but I believe my opening pressure was 37, which at that time was called 370, just so you know, they added the 0. So it was like 376, or something like that. But anyway, and then he proceeded to lower the pressure. So I was there for a while. That lumbar puncture was in his office. It was not with fluoroscopy. At the time, they did not do this with fluoroscopy. I understand that this was in 1992. And I did not know what to expect the few days after. It was at that time that I was officially diagnosed with Pseudotumor Cerebri. It was this neurologist that said, you do have this condition, and from now on, we are going to be monitoring you, and this will be a team of us. It will be your doctor, your main doctor, my internist. It will be your neuro-ophthalmologist, who you met yesterday, and myself, and it's going to be a very close monitoring. So in the next video, I want to talk to you about what happened in the days after, because I did have a leak. It was a rough time, especially not knowing. A lot of it was not knowing. I did go searching for what Pseudotumor Cerebri was. Once I was well, there was very little information, as you can imagine. We'll talk a little bit about symptoms that started showing up. what happened. I was started on Diamox short after, but I want to sort of stop the video here because again I'm getting tired, and also because we can address one thing at a time. Thank you so much for listening and for taking this trip with me. I hope that you are bearing with the fact that I can only do this a few minutes at a time. In fact, they're stretching out a bit too long for me. So I send you farewell until the next time. Bye-bye.